So it's very hard to tell on the clinical basis difference between these two. Yeah, if the pain's going to continue for another 45 minutes, it's very likely MI. But on the other hand, you could have MI and the pain could have been only 10 minutes, So you basically don't know. But how will you know finally? And what will finally tell you it was MI? Well, those are the cardio-specific markers, because if it's only ischemia, there was no burst of the cells and there should nothing be in the blood. But if the muscle dies, the cells burst, and the enzymes and all the other stuff like troponins, they will sooner or later get into the blood by diffusion. But it's not instant. The problem is, like myoglobins, specific for the heart, can appear like earliest 1 hour after the MI, but better like in 4 hours. And forget maybe myoglobin, but first you should what you should really remember are two peaks, and one is CKMB, and the other one is troponins. Well, maybe I should put it like this. The troponins stay longer. So let's say this is like maybe 3 days. 3 days. No, sorry. And why am I saying this? Well, it's that CKMB and this is troponin. Well, remember, CKMB is more important in the case if you're thinking of reinfarctions. And that's very typical. You can have a heart attack one day and then in 3 days again. So if you're having a heart attack today and then on 4th day, again, you're having chest pain over here, the only enzyme you can look for out of these two is the CKMB. Because this one's going to be still high. I should prolong it maybe. Because the troponins, they can stay for 5 days, week, like high. And you won't know. So for reinfarctions, and this is a USMLE question, so reinfarctions, remember CKMB. Okay, that's important. So if the MI is like 4 day, and another question with the enzymes. So basically, you should expect them like maybe 3-4 hours earliest, okay? And then, of course, they're very high. But look at that. I'm having an MI. Obviously, it's necrosis. They put stent there, okay? And now, 9th hour after the stenting, I'm really having high enzymes. What will you do? You have to take the blood all the time, It's not like you take the blood. So you're taking blood and checking when the enzymes go up. And now they're high at the 9th hour. What do you think? What was that? You will stent it like in 1 hour after the MI. It happened at home, and in 1 hour you're having a stent there. It's nothing. You just expected this. It's because 9 hours ago you had an MI, okay? So you don't have to be like scared that something happened. This is just what you expect, okay? Anyways, these cardio-specific markers are crucial because over here and over here, there's no way you can have them in the blood. So this is definite. It tells you later, in 4 or 5 hours, if you take the blood, you can be sure it was an MI. I mean, after 1 day and there is no increase in cardio-specific markers, it was an MI. It was just an ischemic attack. Yeah? But it's a late sign in a way. So that's why the only thing which really helps you is the clinical state, the clinical presentation, and the ECG. Okay? Because you won't be waiting 4 hours before the enzymes go up. You want to have the stent there. You want to be ballooned and put a stent there as soon as possible. So it just confirms the diagnosis, okay? In most cases. You want to get it there as soon as possible. If I'm going to have MI and elevation especially, about even depression on ST, and I'll tell you the different ideas about it, but if I'm going to have elevation, I want to have stent there immediately, as soon as possible. So that's CKMBs, And that's non-STEMI, NSTEMI infarction. Okay? And later is, or the most important one and the deadly one is STEMI. That means ST elevation myocardial infarction, as you know, or it means transmural, or it means Q-infarction, because in this one, but later you're going to have Q, pathological Q, or you should imagine that the whole wall is dead, yeah? So it's dead like this, fully dead. Okay, so if I draw a heart here, part of the wall like this is dead. Yep. Because here it was occluded, so the vessel that supplies this, it's not supplying it, and it died. Okay. So transmural infarction, and in this case you would expect, first of all, or the thing you look for mainly is the STEMI. So this is party, but it doesn't have to be this. It can be just, yeah, okay, even slightest. But typically, if it's a massive one, this is a combination of 10T, I'll tell you that later, and a ST elevation, okay? It's hidden, the 10th T or the high T or sharp high T is hidden here. So party's weight. It's not a party, it's a name, okay? This guy was partying and then he has party, okay? Yeah. So, anyways, this is very serious. And remember, you should have it at least on 2 or 3 leads if you're having ST elevation. And there's a chest pain, you never wait, stent immediately. And the idea over here, as I said, if this is a coronary artery, it's basically fully occluded. So this is artery which is occluded. And the occlusion is already, the plaque is stabilized and you cannot do anything with that. So you want to put a catheter there, destroy the occlusion, and put a stent there. And by the way, in all of them, you're going to give aspirin, yeah? Aspirin, or I mean these 3. Because in all of them, or well, in this one, and now it depends. If you're in Czech Republic, we have really small distances and cath labs everywhere. So it's pretty, and everyone else knows what to do. So, of course, you always want stent, or you want a balloon there and open it. But in the US, for example, if you're somewhere, you know, in Texas, and it takes 3 hours to get you to the hospital, well, still you have one more option, and that is TPA. Okay, so if there is no cath lab near around, you will get at least a fibrinolysis. Okay, so that means you want to dissolve the clot. Okay. And basically the idea is you do put it only here, only in this case, because over here you take it as a already stabilized. Here still, even because it's sort of occluding, here you give aspirin and it should sort of protect you, yeah? Okay. But so basically your parents should have aspirin all the time with them, yeah? Anyways, you give aspirin every time. Why I put these 3 in circles? Well, the important thing is this is, and why this is? Well, because all of these 3, that's the main message you put under one big directory, and that's called acute coronary syndromes. Because when these start, they all start suddenly now. The pain is sudden, it's not on load, it's sudden. You are having ECG changes there, down or up. And you don't know, you cannot tell these 3 apart, or basically you can tell. The last one is easy. There's a pain, retrosternal pain, it continues, and there's ST elevation at least on 2 leads, cath lab immediately. But these 2 you won't be able so well to recognize apart. But anyways, that's why you all put them in this acute coronary syndrome place. Just not to underestimate any situation. All of them could be MIs. And you're just, you know, checking them out. And basically you want to check these out. And you want this to be the answer. But you cannot be sure. So that's why we got this. All of these, when someone comes on a chest on a pain, and it was not on the load, during load, or he was never tested for that, you take it as an acute coronary syndrome. And you have to distinguish which one of these is it, if it's unstable angina or if it's already MI. Either non-transmural or transmural. But this one is the most dangerous, of course. That's the real, proper MI. Okay?
Professor, I have a small question regarding the STEMI.
Yeah.
So the tissue that's affected is already necrotic, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in that case, the occlusion, what exactly, by putting the stent in, what exactly are you helping?
No, okay, I'll tell you. Because you have a core of the necrosis, and then you have you could call it penumbra as well. You could call it a shady area, and you're fighting for the shady area. Because the core is dead, definitely, and the longer this will be occluded, the larger it will grow. Yeah? Because always in the core of the ischemia, they're dead already. Those are the ones releasing the enzymes and everything the first. And you have the surroundings that are ischemic, and if you won't reperfuse this, if you don't destroy it, they will sooner or later die as well. So you're fighting to save as much of the meat as possible. Okay? Okay? Because it's always from one vessel, and it's not like, not all the cells are supplied the same way. There are the ones which are, there are vessels around. The blood comes from around, like to this region from other branches of the coronaries. And there is some oxygen and getting through from the other ones, the surrounding ones. So basically, if the vessel which leads directly here to the center is occluded, the middle dies, but still the surroundings are sort of living. And if you reperfuse this, you will supply them from inside as well and keep them alive and save them. So yeah, there's a core of dead meat, and there is dying meat around, and you're fighting for the dying meat, the dying muscle. Yeah? Good?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good question, actually. So anyways, and it's the same with the transitory ischemic attack and stroke video on Coiled. There's the zona penumbra. Check the zona penumbra. And this is what you're finding in stroke. It's just the same analogy. Okay? So zona penumbra. Check it out. Or penumbra. Okay? But one more comment. There is a catch. And the catch is left bundle branch block. LBBB. Yeah? And LBBB means that you are blinded. If someone has a left bundle branch block, you cannot read ECG anymore, because the left bundle branch block destroys the ECG curve. So you are blinded. Then ECG won't help you. And heart attack or ischemia can cause a LBB now, or the person could have it like for a year, left bundle branch block. But you cannot believe the ECG. And in this case, if there is a retrosternal pain, he has symptoms. He can be dyspneic also, maybe, if the heart already fails. Doesn't matter. But when there is a retrosternal pain and you see a LBB, left bundle branch block, on an ECG, which could, for example, in V6, look like this. And you see why? Because you see the notch over here. That's sort of, you don't know if this is elevation or not. So in this case, cath lab as well. It doesn't have to be MI. Just ischemic attack, but you're just blinded with the ECG. So you go for the worst version. You go for the worst and think of that it's not the worst. Yeah? Good. So remember LBB, the exception. Okay? Also, it's the same, like I'm not having ECG around, but I'm having a catheter and I can like get it. Like I'm somewhere and ECG is not working, but here's a retrosternal pain. Okay, if I'm having a catheter, I want it there. Yeah, get it? I guess so. So those were the versions. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. And as always, check the description below for supplementary questions and other materials.